Hey everyone, Miraculous Guy here. Remember this show? Well, this show was made by a little guy called Alex Hirsch back in 2012. Now, this show called Gravity Falls would pave the way for a multitude of story-driven cartoons, primarily on the same network, Disney Channel, XD. Same thing, Plus. Hey, let's do Plus in there too. This video is not sponsored by Disney Plus. Now, after Gravity Falls ended in 2016, a lot of fans were bummed out that we didn't have a show anymore. And we would have to wait 3 more years for a actually good cartoon to come out. And that cartoon was Amphibia, created by Matt Barley. Matt here, he actually worked on Gravity Falls. He was a storyboard artist on season 1 of Gravity Falls, and he was a director on season 2 of Gravity Falls. He actually directed Northwest Mansion, which gave him a reward. Now, me personally, I'm glad Disney gave him a show. They probably saw him win the reward, and they're like, oh, we better give this guy a show. He needs a show right now. Because, you know, that's kind of what Disney does. If you're good enough, you will get a show. Now, during his work on Gravity Falls, he was also a storyboard artist on Steven Universe. And after Gravity Falls ended, he was a director on Big City Green, which is another Disney property. Now, Matt actually put a lot of his real life into Amphibia. I mean, he is Thai American, just like Anne. Anne is Thai. He put his cat Domino, which is also Anne's cat's name, and they look exactly the same. And Anne herself is actually based off his grandmother, which I found very interesting, and that was a nice nod to his grandmother. So his show, Amphibia, is about a 13-year-old girl named Anne Bunchaway who is transported to another dimension full of frogs with her other 2 friends. And they basically have to find a way back home, and also finding each other in the process, and finding who they are by the end of the series. Amphibia, I absolutely love this series. I watched it when it first premiered in 2019, and I watched the finale. It was amazing, and I'm so glad I got to watch it. You might not know who Matt is, but I'm pretty sure you know who Dana Terrace is. Dana Terrace also worked on Gravity Falls. She wasn't a director like Matt, but she was a storyboard artist like Matt. After Gravity Falls ended, just like Matt, she went to go work on another Disney property. You might know it. It was the DuckTales reboot, or DuckTales 2017. Now, on DuckTales 2017, she was a storyboard artist and an animator as well. So, what else do you know Dana for? Oh yeah, she created a little show called The Owlhouse. Now, The Owlhouse would break basically the world by having Luz No Seda as the first bi main character in a animated series, in a Disney animated series. I forgot which one it was, but still, that is a great accomplishment. So, Amphibia and the Owlhouse have very similar plots. Luz, like Anne, is transported to a different dimension. But unlike Anne, Luz doesn't have anyone with her. Luz stumbles upon a witch called Ida the Owl Lady, and her little friend named King, who is voiced by Alex Hirsch, the creator of Gravity Falls. Luz has to also find a way back home, just like Anne. But while finding her way back home, she is also training to be a witch. You, the viewer, are probably wondering, why did I start off this video by explaining the backstory between Gravity Falls, Amphibia, and the Owlhouse and their creators? Well, I did this because these 3 people and these 3 shows play a crucial part within this theory. I call this theory Owlphibia. Of course, if you're a fan of Owlhouse and the Amphibia, you already know that these shows have a lot of references to each other. So you might just say, oh yeah, the theory's confirmed, whatever, they're in the same multi-universe thingy, whatever. You can just say that. But me, I wanted to expand more on the lore and how they are in the same connected universes. universe. Right, so I'm not just gonna be taking a simple reference and saying, oh, this is also in Amphibia, or oh, this is also in the Owl House, and say that's a connection, because that's just kind of lame. I'm gonna go into detail about all these items and how they are from the other one show, or universe. And we will start with clue number 1. Now, in this image you see here, we see, of course, the amazing Willow. And Willow, her dads are basically giving her these books and saying she has to study more. Now, if you look on the top book, the green one there on the top, it says the life cycle of the common swamp toad. And you see like a little hot pop, which is very cool. But the thing is, this toad, like Hot Pop, has hair. And usually toads don't have hair. Well, in our world, they don't have like hair. But in Amphibia, of course, they're talking toads, so they have hair. But in the Owl House, do toads have hair? Do we have any example of a toad in the Owl House that we can go off reference by? Unfortunately, I could not find any evidence of frogs in the Owl House, but if you could go back and find one, that would be greatly appreciated, and please send it to me. All my socials are down below. So maybe this is just how frogs look in the Owl House. We have no idea. Maybe they have hair. So my question is, how did this book about a swamp toad with hair get in Willow's house in the first place? Well, I will come back to that at the end of all the clues, so just you wait. Now, switching over universe to Amphibia, we see here Anne holding like a staff with a skull on top. And of course, this skull is very similar to King's. Now, King is actually a Titan. He is a baby Titan. So, again, I asked, how did a baby Titan skull get into Amphibia? That's really interesting. And maybe, hey, maybe there's Titans in Amphibia. Maybe there is. We don't know. I would love to see that in Marcy's journal. I feel like that would be very cool if we got to see that in Marcy's journal. Her talking about Titans and maybe them being in the same. Maybe that would be the connection. Her talking about the same creatures being in, say, the Owl House inside her journal, but we just never got to see them in Amphibia. Now, brace yourselves. These couple of last clues are very vital and very important to Owlphibia. Now, as you see in this image right here, is clearly the Owl House. Clearly the Owl House. I mean, just look at the Owl House and this Amphibia image side by side. Now, this image actually comes from the energy that was released from the Calamity box and the different dimensions we got to see. Now, the scientist, I always forget her name, but she says that everyone seems to think they're fake. Now, yeah, that's the thing. Are they fake? Are they real? Of course, we know because it's literally the Owl House. Time for my second to last clue. You see that little, you see this little Lumity image right here? Well, look closer. That's the Calamity box, or a Calamity box. Are there multiple Calamity boxes? Well, for that, we have to understand the backstory of the Calamity box. We know this primarily from Andreas. The Calamity box was used for powering weapons of mass destruction, as well as creating robots for most likely war. Andreas also stated that he wanted to use the Calamity box to conquer more worlds. Now, we know that the Calamity box is from Amphibia because of the temple locations. They're all in Amphibia, and not to mention the frog carved in the side of the Calamity box. Now, would this necessarily mean it's the same Calamity box? If not the same, then maybe a duplicate of that one? So, looking directly at the book of how the Calamity box works, we see 5 different worlds that you could travel to, and one looks exactly like the Boiling Isles. So, could this mean if Luce and Amity were to actually use that Calamity box, could they end up on Amphibia? And if we look back at the Calamity box in this image, we don't really see any gems. So is there possible there could be more gems? That seems likely because it does seem that Amphibia's Calamity box does kind of have its own prophecy by itself, only located within that world of Amphibia. So hey, maybe this Calamity box means nothing. Last but not least, the last clue is the one we recently just got in the season 2 finale of the Owl House, the hoax. Now, this one basically straight up confirms that they are in the same world, or even maybe the same Earth, literally. Now, when I first saw this, I thought maybe it's one of those kind of like actual hoax in real life, where they kind of change up the story, change up the images. They're not really all correct. And I thought maybe it was just about Luce and kind of how she was just missing. I kind of thought it was like that, and how, you know, maybe Luce's mom might have put up missing signs and said, hey, to the police or whoever, that, hey, my kid is missing. And maybe this got out to the local media, and they kind of just made, you know, websites and kind of articles on how this girl was missing, and she probably went to another world, similar to how Anne went, but maybe they just changed up the title, changed up the face, kind of what happens in real life. People really do that. Or hey, maybe she was just searching up about girls being lost in another dimension, and Anne's story came up because she was back. So yes, I'm done with the clues. Those are all the clues I have for you. And I actually explained earlier why I thought that they were all connected through the Calamity box. The fact that if you look in the book of how the Calamity box works, you can clearly see a planet that looks similar to the Boiling Isles, and maybe the Calamity box could take you there. How the book works is basically the base of the tree, and those clues would be the branches of Owlphibia. And hey, I believe it checks out. Now, there is a slight chance that they have the same creatures, if only we can go into the future and read Marcy's journal. I hope there is stuff about the Titans in there. For clue 3, it's literally just the Owl House. Whether it's real or fake, we have no clue. For clue 4, the Calamity box is right there, and we know how it works, how it can send you to about 5 different planets. You know, maybe there was multiple Calamity boxes made, and this one just happened to be on the Boiling Isles, similar to how our Calamity box on Amphibia ended up in Earth. And number 5, the hoax. This one, you can't really debunk it, but you could just say it was like a slightly edited article, maybe. That's kind of the best thing you can do. But other than that, it's literally Anne. Come on, it's literally Anne. So I stated my basis, how the Calamity box works, and all the branches kind of going out into Owlphibia. And that's kind of my theory for Owlphibia. Now, how Amphibia and the Owl House connects to Gravity Falls, that's a whole different video. I really don't want to make this video any longer. But hey, Alex Hirsch being the voice of King, and I'm pretty sure you can see merchandise within the Amphibia universe that comes from Gravity Falls. Yeah, what else is there to explain? I mean, come on, guys. I also did a video not too long ago about King being Bill. I still don't know if that theory is relevant, but hey, it's just something to throw out there. This is my longest video on the channel, but I felt like I wanted to do it. I felt like it was a really cool idea and theory to explore, and I know this isn't per se a new theory, but hey, Owlphibia, I love it. I love it. I believe it. Tell me if you believe it down below. That would be greatly appreciated. Also, hey, please leave a like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. I worked really hard on this video. This was my longest video to date, and it's the 10th anniversary of Gravity Falls. So cool. I know. It's Gravity Falls is 10 years old. I remember watching it back when I was a kid, back in 2012, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. And I wanted to be a showrunner. I want to be an animator. I still want to be that. So yeah, just please guys, leave a like and subscribe. Let's get to 700 subscribers. That would be my dream. But hey, just thanks for watching the video. I love you. Okay. Alright. I will see you guys later. Miraculous guy out. Up, up, and away!
Wow. The likes and comments are blowing up my phone. I think I'm unsubscribed.